This security cam video of the Monroeville Mall shootings was played in evidence. We heard testimony from victim of stray gunfire Thomas Singleton about the physical and emotional suffering he and his wife have gone through. But the most explosive evidence against Tyrod Thornhill was a recorded jail phone call in which a man and a woman tell the mall shooter to fake mental illness for jail doctors.
Rod, listen to me and listen to me well. When that doctor comes to see you sometime this week, you better act nuttier than the fruitcake. Do you understand?
A defense medical expert in the Monroeville Mall shootings case testified today that Thornhill has heard voices and seen things that aren't there. In the phone call, the woman says,
"Say you hear voices? I ain't even trying to be funny neither." Oh, yes. Listen, I'm not trying to be funny neither. The voices made you take good.
The defense doctor testified that since the mall shootings, Thornhill has been medicated to treat hallucinations. In the phone call, he was told,
"Say, I have a battle with them myself. I hear voices. I see things. I don't give a damn what you say, but you better make sure you act like you're a f***ing nutball."
Talking crazy is not as easy as it sounds. Do you remember that movie Tropic of Thunder, starring Robert Downey, Ben Stiller? There's a scene in there where the Robert Downey character is talking to the Ben Stiller character and telling him that in one of Ben Stiller's earlier roles, Ben Stiller went full retard. Never should have gone full retard.
You're serious? You don't know. Everybody knows you never go full retard.
What do you mean?
Check it out. Dustin Hoffman, Rain Man, look retarded, act retarded, not retarded.
So I guess it's a little trickier, this whole crazy thing, than it seems. You know, in another life, when I used to work for politicians from time to time, we had to take the politician by the hand and take him to a speech coach. The speech coach would teach him how to act and speak like a leader. Sometimes it took a couple days, sometimes it took a couple months, sometimes it took longer than anybody has, but you just got to be trained to do this stuff. And so to tell somebody, it wasn't enough just to get this guy in a room and say, "Hey, dang it, start acting like a leader." No, you had to give him really specific instructions about how to, carry yourself, how to talk, how to gesture. You had to train him to act like a leader. Well, I suspect the same thing applies if you want to act like a crazy person. You can't just get on a telephone and tell somebody, "Hey, start acting crazy as a nutball." No, you got to be way more specific. So why don't we look at some videotapes of people who act and talk, especially talk. This is a talking thing, right? Let's get some video of people who have been talking crazy. And maybe this young man who's in the slammer now, maybe they would give him some ideas.
When Trayvon Martin was first shot, I said that this could have been my son. I think the reason that the organizers used the phrase Black Lives Matters was not because they said they were suggesting nobody else's lives matter. Rather, what they were suggesting was there is a specific problem that is happening in the African American community that's not happening in other communities. And that is a legitimate issue that we've got to address.
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
So for African Americans who are well aware of this threat and who recognize that it exists and who have lived with this threat for many, many decades, there is a feeling of vulnerability, of not being taken seriously. The part that is supposed to bring us all together as a nation, Republicans and Democrats, black and white, is the safety of our nation. That's first and foremost. If you call yourself a patriot, if you say you love this country, then first and foremost you care about the safety of its citizens. And what we have seen too often is the safety of African American citizens sacrificed for the purpose of partisan gain, sacrificed because people are afraid to say the truth, allowing themselves to traffic in the tools of white supremacy like the Confederate flag. This has to stop.
America has at least here two problems. There's racism. These Americans are dead because they were African American. That's the simple fact of this matter. And we really need to question, how does that jump from generations, get to young people like this? That's a really important question in our society.
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
But he was speaking from the heart about this problem, and it struck me that in the remaining time that he's president, after Ferguson, after New York City, after Baltimore, after now Charleston, this issue of violence against African Americans and how we talk about it, how we begin to move to a different place is the issue before the presidency.
Israel, we are a violent culture in many ways, and the question is, how does it manifest itself? And in this case, it's some people try to step around race, say it wasn't really about race, but then when we saw the manifesto, we saw it was.
I'd also add, though, that this is an opportunity for a Republican candidate to do a big picture speech, address issues of race and violence.
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
I think it's a challenge, but I do think that there is a enduring problem that's transmitted between generations that has to be broken. The question is how we root this out in our laws and in our lives. And that, I think, is a question Republicans should have an answer to. How do we root out racism in our laws and in our lives? And then
panel is here. I want to go back to the gun video we showed because we've gotten a lot of comments on social media already. I'm going to read one tweet. It says, unfortunately, Meet the Press decided to show that guns don't kill people, but black powerless kids with guns kill people. Wrong time. Gene, you brought this up. That was the first reaction you had.
Yeah, I just...
Look, that is not, we wanted to have a different conversation about guns, about the societal issues, the why people choose to go get one. It wasn't meant to be a black and white issue, and I understand, or maybe in one of these moments where everybody's only seeing things through black and white.
Yeah, you know, here's one thing it teaches is, you know, we have to be conscious of the way we talk about race, and we ought to do it more often. If we did it more often, and it were part of the general conversation, then it wouldn't be so striking and so noticeable to so many people when, for example, you do something about gun violence and you only have black people in it.
It is a reminder that, and in fact on law enforcement, that white people do not see this issue the same, because I've never been pulled over because of the color of my skin by a police officer.
And white parents don't have to have that talk with their sons about how to act when you're approached by police, and don't make any sudden movements and keep your hands visible and that sort of thing. Look, we could talk about this all day. We could talk about mass incarceration. We could talk about disparities in drug sentencing.
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
Safety for Black lives is an illusion. Especially at the airport. The airport is actually under investigation for the practices that they're doing. As you know, and as you've reported, Islamophobia is rampant, especially in the airport. I think there is. I mean, you can see it when
give me
a
stats.
Person of color. What was that?
Give me
stats. I don't have statistics for you. I don't have statistics. What I do have is experience as a black person. I see my Muslim counterparts being harassed on the daily, whether they're at the airport or not.
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
Well, that's pretty good advice. And one other thing. If you're in Pittsburgh at the Monroeville Mall, man, how many stories have we done on the Monroeville Mall in Pittsburgh? A lot. But if you're out there, you see a lot of black people running through the mall. And by the way, you can always tell if somebody's holding a gun, they're running. They put their hand on the gun. That's how cops tell, usually on a waistband. Anyway, see a bunch of black people running through the mall. Maybe they're holding their waistband. You're there with your wife and your child. Just remember, don't make the black kids angry.